had heard. And my whole career has been on a simple phrase. It's not what you say, it's what people hear. And they heard from him. He may not have said, man the barricades, storm the Capitol, but that's what they heard. And he should have known better. After 5 years in politics, he should have known better. You can't pull out his words and say, these are the words that tell you to break into the Capitol. He never said that. Let's be accurate. But they understood what he meant, and he should have known better by what he said.
What was
the difference?
What was it like to be in that crowd?
So I only joined it at 7th and Pennsylvania. You know, if I get COVID, I die. I've got a pre-existing condition and it kills me, so I have to be careful. So I got into the crowd at 7th and Pennsylvania. And I walked from there up to the Capitol. And two things I saw. And if you want the video, I'd be happy to share it with you. But I saw, for the first time, I saw the police as an enemy, not as a protector. For the first time, I saw how the crowds were reacting to the cops. And it was ugly. And I remind you that moments before that, I saw the scene with a woman who says, unlike liberals, we don't riot. And the cop cars were screamed at, and the cops were yelled at. And instead of celebrating them, which is what had happened in the very first rally, because I went to the first rally after the election, and in that rally, a cop comes, a car comes, and they applaud them. They're getting them standing ovations. We're now 2 months later, and it's not that at all. It's exactly the opposite. So that's how I knew that the mood had changed. And second, all you had to do was look at the signs, look at the flags, look at the things that people were carrying and what they were shouting. There was a lot more guttural language, a lot more four-letter words, a lot more anger. He should have seen that from the podium. He should have heard that over the last 48 hours online. You cannot claim to be the voice of the people and then not know what the people are saying to you. You cannot claim to listen and to be their voice if you don't know that that mood had changed, had gotten ugly. And so is he responsible? Not his words, but his deeds. And I ask people, and I'm going to ask you a favor to include this, and this is not really beautiful rhetoric, but I'm going to ask you to because this really matters to me. I'm trying to be precise, and I'm trying to be accurate because the public has the right to know. The words of Donald Trump did not cause that riot on Capitol Hill. But that event itself, and what happened before, and the tone and the demeanor created the conditions for that riot to take place. And it was a riot. If we are to learn anything from what happened, we have to be precise. We have to be accurate. We have to put aside politics and our own biases and hear people for what they think, what they feel, and how they act, and then report that exactly as it happens. You could not have known, even 24 hours before, that a riot would take place. But you should have known that the conditions had changed, the mood had changed, the level of anger had changed, and the people themselves were thinking differently. And that was never taken into account. It was never anticipated. And frankly, Donald Trump should have known better.
In the Capitol, McConnell's speech, he breaks from Trump in a way he'd never broken before. Why now? What was going on with McConnell's speech? The words he said, the Senate is it higher calling an endless spiral of partisan vengeance, has been stuff you've been saying, we've talked about over the years. Take me to that moment. What did you see?
The moment that the first door was breached and the first window was broken, the people inside realized that this was not a protest. This was a riot. And while I'm not prepared to use language like coup or sedition or traitor, I think that words like that actually cause situations like this. When you use language like that to label your opponents, you're creating the environment of this chaos. But they could see that this was not a common situation, that this had never happened before,